I'm Jayson Jorgensen. It is once again time for Husker Chat. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. We once again are joined by Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline. Sean, here we are again. Another tough loss for the Huskers and Scott Frost. Another one-score game against an opponent that Nebraska was favored against. Deja vu all over again.
Yeah, Jason, are we doing the same one as last week or the week before?
I don't know.
I mean, that's what it feels like. Unfortunately, here we are. Nebraska's 3-6. They've been favored in 6 of their 9 games, and they've got a record on the other end. I mean, I'm not saying Nebraska should be 6-3, but they shouldn't be 3-6, and that continues to be the unfortunate thing. Nothing has been predictable about this season. The games that you hope would be predictable Saturdays are like, hey, Nebraska's got the talent advantage. They're favored to beat Purdue. They're favored to beat Minnesota. They're better than Illinois. Let's go out and have a nice execution game, win, feel good about where it's going. Those types of Saturdays have not happened.
What's the biggest surprise from your angle on how this thing has developed this fall and where Nebraska has struggled so mightily?
I think you got to go to offense. I mean, when Scott Frost came here, it was about his offense, not about defense. And, this offense really hasn't been able to develop any kind of consistency. There are wow moments, obviously big play moments, but just the play-to-play consistency has not been there in order to win in this league. And, that teams have kind of played that against Nebraska. Like Purdue, they were perfectly fine with 3 to 5 yard runs and passes the entire game. And they wore down Nebraska's defense in the process, and it put Nebraska kind of in this hurry up mode, and it led to a lot of turnovers.
A lot of talk this week, folks, upset about the game that Adrian Martinez had with 4 interceptions and wondering why, someone else wasn't put in there. But Scott Frost is pretty much stuck with Martinez this year, and it probably speaks to the development that if they had someone who they thought was better, they'd be playing.
Yeah, Heinrich Harburg and Logan Smothers and Matt Masker are your other quarterbacks, and there's a sizable gap there. I mean, look, Adrian's played with a broken jaw. He's played with a bad ankle. He played through 4 picks. If you're not going to get on the field in those situations, it's pretty telling kind of where that room is at. And I know it's frustrating. The game itself was kind of an anomaly for Martinez. I mean, he only had 3 picks on the year, and he threw 4 Saturday. It just, I'm not saying he's played great all season, but we haven't seen something like that from Martinez in a long, long time. I mean, a year ago, he went from the Northwestern game, which is game 2, all the way until the Rutgers game before he threw a pick again. So he did a much better job even last year not throwing interceptions. So there's something about that game, the way it unfolded. I think he put more pressure on himself. It led to him forcing a couple things and led to turnovers.
Today on Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline. Husker Chat is brought to you by Acres Equipment. What's your read on the team? Coach Frost talked about it a little bit in his press conference, whereas, you've been so close, and you're not able to break through. And even though you can say all the right things, after a while, that has to wear on a team and on a program.
Yeah, talk is talk for only so long, and you have to eventually have results to go with the talk. And unfortunately, Nebraska is in this same spot where, when I think as a fan, if you hear, oh, we had the captains address the team or we're close, when you're not winning games, I don't think any of that stuff moves the needle for fans. They wanted to see wins, and that's the unfortunate thing. And now they play arguably one of their toughest stretches on the schedule with Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa. And that's how they close things out. And everybody knew that going into the year, Jason. That's why the Minnesota, the Illinois, the Purdue, even the Michigan State game, those were such important games to get this team to 6 wins. And I think most logical fans are like, this is a team that can maybe win 6 or 7 this year, but they're going to have to do it on the front end because they sure as heck are going to have a hard time doing it on the back end.
How about this matchup with the Buckeyes after that early stumble they had at home against Oregon? Every week they appear to be better and better. And boy, what a task and what a challenge that awaits the Huskers with an offense that comes in here averaging close to 50 points per game.
Yeah, you look at talent. they have probably one of the 3 or 4 most talented rosters in college football. They've got C.J. Stroud, a 5-star. They've got 2 first-round draft picks at receiver, and Olave and Wilson. Henderson's second leading rusher in the Big Ten. I mean, they're putting up 50 to 65 points a game on their Big Ten opponents a lot of weeks. Penn State played them tough, though. I'll give Penn State a lot of credit. They made that a real physical 4-quarter game. I think if you're Nebraska, you hope that Ohio State got beat up a little bit last week playing a game like that. Now they have to travel. They got to get up early and play. Spread's 15.5. I think that caught people by surprise too. But remember, this has been a Nebraska team all year that has played up to their level of opponent. I use Oklahoma as an example. That spread was 22.5, and Nebraska lost by 7, and really had a good game plan on how to make that a game and have honestly a chance to win it. They had the ball to tie the game on the final possession here in regulation.
Historically, this has not been a good matchup for Nebraska against Ohio State. When you start to taking a look at these 2 rosters and the matchups, how does Nebraska keep it close? How do they duplicate what they did against Oklahoma?
Yeah, there's really only been 2 close matchups in the history of the Big Ten for Nebraska versus Ohio State. The very first year when Luke Fickell was the coach, they beat him. And then in 2018, Scott Frost's first year, that game went into the 4th quarter. The way you beat them, I think, Jayson, number 1 is they've got to have more ball control. They've got to have a running game. You need at least 200 rushing yards, period. And then on defense, you got to tackle. You got to get up on the line of scrimmage, and you got to keep C.J. Stroud in the pocket. And obviously those receivers are still good enough that they're going to win their fair share of 50-50 balls.
All right, we'll see how it goes on Saturday morning in Lincoln. Sean, as always, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, Jayson.
You bet. That was Sean Callahan, the publisher of Husker Online, joining us for Husker Chat. We're here every week, and it's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.